Kent Blaylock with SDG Bible Study. That's the Soli Deo Gloria Bible Study coming to you on this Saturday morning, August the 8th, 2026. Hope everyone is doing well, ready for the weekend and ready for the reading of God's Word as we continue in the reading plan as it happened. A one-year chronological walk through the Bible and also reading from Daily Doctrine, a one-year guide to systematic theology. And a little disclaimer again before we even begin. In Daily Doctrine this morning, we'll be speaking on the modes of baptism. This is, again, a point where me and my Presbyterian brothers disagree, and we'll discuss that when we get into it in a few moments. But first, the reading from the biblical text as we get into the book of Jeremiah this morning, chapters 7, 8, and 9. So join me as we read God's word together. Jeremiah chapter 7. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Stand in the gate of the house of Yahweh, and you shall call out there this word. And you shall say, Hear the word of Yahweh, all you of Judah, who enter by these gates to worship Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, Make your ways and your deeds good, and I will let you dwell in this place. Do not trust in lying words, saying, This is the temple of Yahweh, the temple of Yahweh, the temple of Yahweh. Or if you truly make your ways and your deeds good, if you truly do justice between a man and his neighbor, if you do not oppress the sojourner, the orphan, or the widow, and do not shed innocent blood in this place, nor walk after other gods to your own evil demise, then I will let you dwell in this place, in the land that I gave to your fathers forever and ever. Behold, you are trusting in lying words to no avail. Will you still murder and commit adultery and swear while lying and burn incense to Baal and walk after other gods that you have not known? Then come and stand before me in this house, which is called by my name, and say, We are delivered, that you may do all these abominations? Has this house, which is called by my name, become a robber's den in your sight? Behold, I, even I, have seen it, declares Yahweh. But go now to my place, which was in Shiloh, where I made my name dwell at the first, and see what I did to it because of the evil of my people Israel. And now, because you have done all these works, declares Yahweh, and I spoke to you rising up early and speaking, but you did not hear, and I called you, but you did not answer. Therefore, I will do to the house which is called by my name, in which you trust, and to the place which I gave you and your fathers, as I did to Shiloh, I will cast you out of my presence, as I have cast out all your brothers, all the seed of Ephraim. As for you, do not pray for this people, and do not lift up a cry of lamentation or prayer for them, and do not intercede with me, for I am not hearing you. Are you not seeing what they are doing in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? The children gather wood, and the fathers make the fire burn, and the women knead dough to make cakes for the Queen of Heaven, and they pour out drink offerings to other gods in order to provoke me. Do they provoke me, declares Yahweh? Is it not themselves they provoke to the shame of their own face? Therefore, thus says Lord Yahweh, Behold, my anger and my wrath will be poured out on this place, on man and on beast, and on the trees of the field, and on the fruit of the ground, and it will burn and not be quenched. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, Add your burnt offerings to your sacrifices, and eat flesh. For I did not speak to your fathers or command them in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt concerning burnt offerings and sacrifices. But this is what I commanded them, saying, Listen to my voice, and I will be your God, and you will be my people, and you will walk in the entire way which I command you, that it may be well with you. Yet they did not listen or incline their ear, but walked in their own counsels and in the stubbornness of their evil heart, and went backward and not forward. Since the day that your fathers came out of the land of Egypt until this day, I have sent you all my slaves, the prophets, daily rising up early and sending them. Yet they did not listen to me or incline their ear, but stiffened their neck. They did more evil than their fathers. You shall speak all these words to them, but they will not listen to you. And you shall call to them, but they will not answer you. You shall say to them, This is the nation that did not listen to the voice of Yahweh their God or receive discipline. Truth has perished and has been cut off from their mouth. Cut off your hair and cast it away. and lift up a funeral lamentation on the bare heights. For Yahweh has rejected and abandoned the generation of his wrath. For the sons of Judah have done that which is evil in my sight, declares Yahweh. They have set their detestable things in the house which is called by my name to defile it. They have built the high places of Topheth, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I did not command, and it did not come upon my heart. Therefore, behold, days are coming, declares Yahweh, when it will no longer be called Topheth or the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of the slaughter. For they will bury in Topheth because there is no other place. The dead bodies of this people will be food for the birds of the sky and for the beasts of the earth, and no one will frighten them away. Then I will make to cease from the cities of Judah and from the streets of Jerusalem the voice of joy and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, for the land will become a waste place. Jeremiah chapter 8. At that time, declares Yahweh, they will bring out the bones of the kings of Judah and the bones of its princes, and the bones of the priests and the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem from their graves. And they will spread them out to the sun, the moon, and to all the host of heaven, which they have loved, and which they have served, and which they have walked after, and which they have sought, and which they have worshipped. They will not be gathered or buried. They will be as dung on the face of the ground. Death will be chosen rather than life by all the remnant that remains of this evil family, that remains in all the places to which I have banished them, declares Yahweh of hosts. You shall say to them, thus says Yahweh. Do men fall and not get up again? Does one turn away and not turn back? Why then has this people, Jerusalem, turned away in continual faithlessness? They hold fast to deceit. They refuse to return. I have given heed and heard. They have spoken what is not right. No man regretted his evil, saying, what have I done? Everyone turned to his course, like a horse charging into the battle. Even the stork in the sky knows her seasons, and the turtle dove and the swift and the crane keep the time of their migration. But my people do not know the legal judgment of Yahweh. How can you say we are wise and the law of Yahweh is with us? But behold, the lying pen of the scribes has made it into a lie. The wise men are put to shame. They are dismayed and captured. Behold, they have rejected the word of Yahweh. And what kind of wisdom do they have? Therefore, I will give their wives to others, their fields to new possessors, because from the least even to the greatest, everyone is greedy for gain. From the prophet even to the priest, everyone practices lying. They heal the brokenness of the daughter of my people superficially, saying peace, but there is no peace. Were they ashamed because of the abomination they had done? They certainly were not ashamed. They did not know how to feel dishonor. Therefore, they shall fall among those who fall. At the time of their punishment, they shall be brought down, says Yahweh. I will surely gather them up, declares Yahweh. There will be no grapes on the vine, and no figs on the fig tree, and the leaf will wither, and what I have given them will pass away. Why are we sitting still? Gather yourselves, and let us go into the fortified cities, and let us be silent there, because Yahweh our God has silenced us and given us poisoned water to drink, for we have sinned against Yahweh. We waited for peace, but there was no good, for a time of healing, but behold, terror. From Dan is heard the snorting of his horses, at the sound of the neighing of his valiant steeds. The whole land quakes, and they come and devour the land as well as its fullness, the city and its inhabitants. For behold, I am sending serpents against you, vipers for which there is no charm, and they will bite you, declares Yahweh. My sorrow is beyond healing. My heart is faint within me. Behold the sound, the city of the daughter of my people from a distant land. Is Yahweh not in Zion? Is her king not within her? Why have they provoked me to anger with their graven images, with foreign idols? Harvest is past, summer is ended, and we are not saved. For the brokenness of the daughter of my people, I am broken. I mourn. Desolation has taken hold of me. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why then has not the health of the daughter of my people gone up? Jeremiah chapter 9. Oh, that my head were waters, and my eyes a fountain of tears, that I might weep day and night for the slain of the daughter of my people. Oh, that I had in the desert a traveler's lodging place, that I might leave my people and go from them. For all of them are adulterers, a solemn assembly of treacherous men. They bend their tongue like their bow. Lies and unfaithfulness prevail in the land, for they go onward from evil to evil. And they do not know me, declares Yahweh. Let everyone beware of his neighbor, and do not trust any brother, because every brother surely supplants, and every neighbor goes about as a slanderer. Everyone deceives his neighbor and does not speak the truth. They have taught their tongue to speak lies. They weary themselves committing iniquity. Your habitation is in the midst of deceit. Through deceit, they refuse to know me, declares Yahweh. Therefore, thus says Yahweh of hosts, Behold, behold, I will refine them and test them. For what else can I do because of the daughter of my people? Their tongue is a slaughtering arrow. It speaks deceit. With his mouth, one speaks peace to his neighbor, but inwardly he sets an ambush for him. Shall I not punish them for these things, declares Yahweh? On a nation such as this, shall I not avenge myself? For the mountains I will take up a weeping and a wailing, and for the pastures of the wilderness a funeral lamentation, because they are turned into ruins so that no one passes through, and the lowing of the cattle is not heard. Both the birds of the sky and the beasts have fled. They are gone. I will make Jerusalem a heap of ruins, a haunt of jackals. And I will make the cities of Judah a desolation without inhabitant. Who is the wise man that may understand this? And who is he to whom the mouth of Yahweh has spoken, that he may declare it? Why has the land perished, turned into ruin like a desert, so that no one passes through? Yahweh said, because they have forsaken my law, which I set before them, and have not listened to my voice, nor walked according to it, but have walked after the stubbornness of their heart, and after the Baals, as their fathers taught them. Therefore, thus says Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will feed them, this people, with wormwood, and give them poisoned water to drink. I will scatter them among the nations, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, and I will send the sword after them until I have consumed them. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, carefully consider and call for the mourning women, that they may come, and send for the skillful women, that they may come. Let them make haste and take up a wailing for us, that our eyes may shed tears and our eyelids flow with water. For a voice of wailing is heard from Zion, how we are destroyed. We are put to great shame, for we have left the land, because they have cast down our dwellings. Indeed, hear the word of Yahweh, O you women, and let your ear receive the word of his mouth. Teach your daughters wailing, and everyone her neighbor a funeral lamentation. For death has come up through our windows. It has entered our palaces to cut off the infants from the streets, the choice men from the open squares. Speak, thus declares Yahweh, the corpses of men will fall like dung on the open field, and like the sheaf after their reaper, but no one will gather them. Thus says Yahweh, let not a wise man boast in his wisdom, and let not the mighty man boast in his might. Let not a rich man boast in his riches, but let him who boasts in this, that he understands and knows me, that I am Yahweh, who shows loving kindness, justice, and righteousness on the earth. For I delight in these things, declares Yahweh. Behold, the days are coming, declares Yahweh, that I will punish all who are circumcised and yet uncircumcised, Egypt and Judah and Edom and the sons of Ammon, and Moab and all those inhabiting the desert who clip their hair on their temples. For all the nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised of heart. That's going to conclude our reading from the biblical text this morning. Now we'll move on to the reading from Daily Doctrine. Day 220, mode of baptism. The Bible speaks of several different actions whereby God's people are ritually cleansed by water. One can make the case that sprinkling was the most common purification rite in the Old Testament. Exodus chapter 24, verses 6 through 8, Leviticus chapter 14, verse 7, Numbers chapter 8, verse 7, chapter 19, verses 18 and 19, Isaiah chapter 52, verse 15, Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 25, and that this would have naturally carried over to the New Testament, Hebrews chapter 12, verse 24. Indeed, Hebrews chapter 9, verse 10, in referencing various ceremonial washings, diaphorius, baptismos, mentions the sprinkled blood of bulls and goats as one of these washings or baptisms, verse 13. Most Reformed churches practice baptism by sprinkling, though other Paedo-Baptist traditions insist on pouring or immersion. Most Baptists, of which I am, believe immersion is central to the act of baptism and inherent in the meaning of the word itself. A closer look at the pertinent text, however, suggests that the word baptism need not imply the physical act of immersion. I disagree. In fact, there is not a single example of baptism in the New Testament that demands immersion, and several examples that positively do not allow for it. I disagree. We read of 3,000 believers being baptized in Jerusalem on Pentecost, Acts chapter 2, verse 41, and yet there's no large body of water near the old city. Baptism here was almost certainly by some means besides immersion. In Acts chapter 9, verse 18, Ananias baptizes Paul seemingly on the spot, after which Paul took food and was strengthened. There is no indication that they went looking for a body of water to be immersed in and then returned later for food. See also the baptism of the Philippian jailer and his family, Acts chapter 16, verse 32 and 33. Likewise, the question in Acts chapter 10, verse 47, can anyone withhold water for baptizing these people, suggests that the water was being brought to the Gentiles, not Gentiles being brought to a large body of water. The best case for baptism by immersion can be found in Acts chapter 8, where Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch both went down into the water, verse 38. But even here, the case for immersion is not strong, for both men go down into the water, 8:38, and both come up out of the water, 8:39. Surely Philip did not immerse himself along with the Ethiopian eunuch. I find that to be a ridiculous argument. It's better to think that both walked down into the water than Philip baptized by sprinkling or pouring, and then both men walked up out of the water. And she could. But someone might ask, doesn't that down and up of immersion best capture the symbolism of death and resurrection? Not necessarily. The imagery of Romans 6 is about union with Christ more than it is about literally going up and down. After all, Jesus was not buried underground, but sideways in a cave. Baptism is about identification, where the Israelites literally immersed baptizo into Moses, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 2, or does the word connote a spiritual reality more than a specific ritual physical rite? We see from the related word bapto that baptism can refer to non-immersive acts. In Leviticus chapter 14, verse 6, a live bird is to be dipped, baptoes, into the blood of a dead bird. In Luke 11:38, we read that Jesus had not first washed himself, baptise, before dinner. This is also likely washing of the hands, certainly not a full body immersion. Baptism does not have to be immersion. Washing with water is the important part. For if the blood of goats and bulls and the sprinkling of defiled persons with the ashes of heifer sanctify for the purification of the flesh, how much more will the blood of Christ? Hebrews chapter 9, verse 13 and 14. And that's going to conclude our reading from the biblical text and from Daily Doctrine this morning. As you probably could tell in my reading of that, I disagree, but I do agree. And I think the important part is that it has to be a public baptism, whether it be sprinkling, pouring, or immersion. You're identifying with yourself with Christ. You're making this public proclamation that you are a follower of Christ, and we are commanded in the word to do so. So it's your identity with Christ. You're identifying with his death, his burial, and his resurrection. And that's the most important part to remember. You are saying, you are proclaiming, I am Christ. I'm his follower. I will worship him and him alone. That's the most important thing. I wholeheartedly think that baptism should be immersion. That's what I hold. That's what my church holds. But if you hold to something differently, understand you must publicly proclaim Christ as Lord. You cannot deny him or he will deny you. That's the most important thing to remember. Hope you have a blessed day today. Hope you give God glory in everything that you do. Solely Deo Glory.